What is thy bidding, my master?
Execute Order 66.
Yes, my master.
And yo, hurry up! Movie's starting in 15 minutes, man.
Alright, yeah, hold on. I gotta finish this thing. Just get me popcorn and soda. I'll meet you there.
Over here eating my pork, just cooking up a pork. Really hope the porgs aren't like the Ewoks taking down the First Order. So
Oh, Oliver.
oh my god, not this again.
You knew this day would come.
What day?
Tuesday?
Yeah, no, it usually comes once a week.
It's time to usher in a new era. Monkey soup.
That sounds terrible, nobody would watch that.
Liar!
Stu's only using you for your appeal to the 18 to 24 demographic. When he gets what he wants, he'll crush you. You know it's true.
I only know one truth. It's time for Nerd Soup to end.
Dude, what? You chopped off my hand, that's what.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was a lightsaber fight.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to chop off my hand. We're putting on a show for the kids here, man. It's not real.
I guess you're right. That's my bad. Hey, that doesn't look too good.
No shit, it doesn't look too good. I don't have a hand.
Just think of it. All great Jedi have had a hand chopped off. Anakin, there's Luke, Jamie Lannister. Besides, we could just get one of those robot hands they all get.
Where am I supposed to get a robot hand? We live in America. We're not in the galaxy far, far away. There's no free healthcare here.
Yeah, well, what do you want to do? Go to a hospital?
And miss the movie? No way. Just grab me some ice and a bandage, and let's get out of here.
All right, you got it.
And you're buying my ticket and snacks.
Well, no way. That's not fair. Okay, fine. Buy you popcorn.
And you're driving.
Can't get your break tonight.
Are you positive Mace Windu is not in this movie?
Stu, he died in Revenge of the Sith. He was thrown out the window.
Well, he could be Snoke.
He's not Snoke.
Well, are you sure he's not Snoke?
He's not Snoke.
Positive.
Yes. Shut the
Nick.
Yo, does the lightsaber choose a Jedi?
No, Ted, that's Harry Potter.
You sure?
Yes.
Alright.
I hope people don't cheer when the opening crawl starts. I want to read it.
Yo, real quick, is Han Solo in this?
Nah, man, he's gonna be in a Young Lando spinoff.
There's breaking news we're following right now. We've been watching the Republican-led
Star Wars The Last Jedi, Episode 8. I can't believe we're at this point. I mean, the first Star Wars movie in 2 years. The first one since Revenge of the Sith, really establishing this sequel trilogy, something that I thought would never be done. And when it comes to a Star Wars movie, it's hard for me to be objective because even when I'm watching Attack of the Clones or Phantom Menace, some of the lesser Star Wars movies, I love being in this universe. I don't think it stops me from being objective about the stories, the storylines, the plots, the choices they made. And to me, The Last Jedi... Well, I'll let you start first. I'll let you take all the hate, and then I'll come in and be like, how dare you, sir?
Yeah, I normally don't get really excited for movies, but I was very excited to see this. I was shaking, I was nervous, I had butterflies before the film started, and I guess, real quick, one word to describe The Last Jedi, for me, at least, it's disappointing. I don't know if I was expecting too much or something different, but very key. I mean, there were some great moments, but I think the flaws kind of weigh it down.
Well, it's inevitable to compare it to The Force Awakens. I think The Force Awakens was a more compact movie, and critics will say, well, that's because they rehashed a movie that was already established, that people already loved. I think with this movie, there was a lot of ups and downs. There were parts that I loved, I was riveted, and then there were other parts where they would come after those parts, and I'd say, what is this? Why am I watching this in a Star Wars movie? I think it was a roller coaster of a film. There were a lot of ups, there were a lot of downs, but I think that leaves you with a film that's kind of in the middle. I think I enjoyed it a little more than you did.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main problem problem I really did had is they try to compact it in a certain amount of time, in I guess not as far as runtime, but as in story time, where they needed characters to do things during this time, and it kind of just didn't really work out that well.
There was a movie within the movie that Rian Johnson wanted to make,
Yes.
which was the relationship between Rey and Luke, and then there were the other things that he had to do. It felt like he could have found a better way to use those characters in the spare time of telling the real story. But I guess we'll get right into it. The relationship between Rey and Luke, easily the strongest part of the movie.
Clearly a standout of the movie. I mean, every time they cut away from it, I kind of wanted to get back to it. And just the dynamic between Luke, the Jedi Master, the last Jedi, who failed his previous apprentice, Kylo Ren, and is hesitant to take on a new Padawan, and Rey, who's just learning about her abilities and wanting to expand and learn all she can about the Jedi, and finds Luke to be hesitant at first. And I guess they have to build some sort of trust and a relationship, and that was clearly a standout of the movie.
Yeah, I think they also did a lot of cool stuff. Octu, the planet with the first Jedi Temple, expanding the mythology of the Force, taking the Force to places that we didn't know were possible. And the performances, Rey, Daisy Ridley once again proving that she was perfect for this role, found her footing in The Force Awakens, became the Luke Skywalker of this new trilogy. And as for the OG Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, to me, the best performance in this movie. People have been underestimating this man as an actor for so many years, just based on the performance, not the movie, not the story, but the way he played the character, that he should get Oscar consideration for Best Supporting Actor. I'm not saying he should win it. I'm not saying it's the best acting of the year. I'm saying it's one of the best performances I've seen all year. Like we've said before, the co-protagonist idea between Rey and Kylo. I thought that was really interesting, the way they kind of made it this triangle relationship between these three competing philosophies, kind of tugging the movie in different directions. Where is it going to go?
Yeah, along with the Rey and Luke stuff, I think the stuff of Kylo was equally as good. Kylo is one of my favorite characters. I don't know why he gets a lot of hate. I get that he's moody and everything, but it's a different take on a villain. He's not dark and brooding, pure evil. He's conflicted. He has these different emotions going through him. He's a real character. He's a real human. I guess in The Force Awakens, when he takes off his mask, that's when we first see that he's actually a human under there. And I think they expand on that humanity very well in this movie.
They took it a step further in this one. They really did explore that conflict, that internal conflict between the light and the dark. And Adam Driver, again, and talk about another great casting choice. The way he plays that character, the emotion that you see on that man's face, he should be considered for no, I'm kidding. BB-8, man. John Boyega Finn, I loved him in the first movie. He's still Finn in this movie, but that side story, inconsequential.
It didn't feel like Star Wars to me. It felt just like some side mission that I guess it helped move.
You know what it felt like? It felt like the animated Clone Wars series.
Oh my God.
That's you couldn't find something more clever for them to do.
Like I said earlier, the time frame they tried to fit the story into, they needed, I guess, to draw that story out a little bit longer, and I think it hurt the movie a lot.
Yeah, I think there's an hour 50 movie inside of a 2.5 hour movie. That's great. There are some choices that we'll get into in the spoiler review. I thought some of the best moments in the film were with Princess Leia. I love the dynamic between her and Poe Dameron. Again, Oscar Isaac, I criticized The Force Awakens that he felt like a character that was there to move the story forward for Finn. But in this movie, they put him front and center, and I really enjoy that character. There were some decisions that he made that kind of made me scratch my head. But, you know, talking about the new characters that were introduced, Rose Tico, I thought she was a good addition to the Star Wars universe, had a lot of chemistry with Finn. Not talking about their story, what they got bogged down into, but her as an actor, her as a character, I really enjoyed. Laura Dern as Amelin Holdo, the new general, she was really good. Benicio del Toro, felt like they could have gave him more to do, but once again, it's a great actor, and actors always bring their A game when they're in a Star Wars movie. The creatures on Octu, the Porgs, everybody was, you know, this whole outrage about the Porgs, they were fine. The new creatures, the new planets. It's funny because it expanded the Star Wars universe in the span of only a couple of days. And once again, Star Wars is about the characters and how the characters drive the story.
I think one thing about the movie is the characters are all great, but just what they do and some of the storylines they have don't live up to the character.
Well, overall, I guess we'll talk about the risks. I think some of them worked out well. Some of them, it kind of negates things that happened in The Force Awakens. It's almost like, if you're going to make this choice in the next movie, why even set this up in the first movie? That to me is there's a difference between twists and risks, and then there's just completely disregarding things that came before it. It almost felt like he didn't watch the first movie.
I would argue, were they really risks though?
The thing is, people are saying this is a different type of Star Wars movie, that it took Star Wars into a new direction that we haven't seen before. A to B is pretty much what Star Wars is. The beginning to end it's a Star Wars beginning, it's a Star Wars end. But what happened in between, the way that they got to that ending, just they did things that I don't even think were necessary. And they also set things up in the trailers, in the promotion of this film, that don't pay off at all.
No.
That they were kind of hinted at, but then they said, nah, it's Star Wars. Da-da-da-da-da. Action scenes, space battles, some of the best set pieces, space battles, and action sequences ever in a Star Wars movie.
It looked fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't argue that. It looks great. The fight scenes are fantastic.
Some of the best lightsaber
cinematography
duels.
was great. My God. The last sequence was beautiful.
Third act.
Beautiful.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not going to completely hate this movie, and I don't completely hate it, but there are moments where you're like, oh, let's go. Like, that's awesome.
That's where I want to give them a little bit of credit, because I do think they took the Force, they took what it means to be a Jedi, what it means to be a rebel or a member of the First Order in this universe. I think they took it to a new level. There were things in this movie that I've never seen in a Star Wars film. And I'm not talking about plot-wise. I'm talking about little moments, like in The Force Awakens when we see Kylo Ren reading the mind of Poe Dameron. I've never seen that when he stops a blaster bolt. I think they upped that in this film, where I thought, oh shit, there are things happening in this movie that I haven't thought of, or that I've always wanted to see, and now I'm actually seeing them.
Yeah, like you said, there were definitely some great moments, but I feel like when you rely on the great moments to kind of bring you back to the movie, then it's not really that great of a movie. It had its flaws, it had its moments, but yeah, I would say no scores, right?
Nah, fuck it, scores. I'm a slave to scores. It only lasted one movie. I love quantifying things with numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I just bought some Bitcoin.
I think you're kind of missed that boat.
Yeah, I kind of did.
I'll give it a 7. I thought.
Was that a brick that just came through the studio? We hate nerd soup. We hate nerd soup. Well, we hate ourselves, so.
What about you? What do you give it?
I would give it an 8 out of 10. I think I would acknowledge the flaws, but I think the highs are just so much better than and I don't think the lows are so egregious where it's like, that's terrible storytelling. There weren't any moments like you see in like a bad movie like Attack of the Clones. There wasn't anything that made me go, ugh.
You are in my very soul, tormenting me.
There's one thing that actually genuinely pissed me off, but other than that, I thought it was a good movie. It's not a great movie. I think that's the thing with Star Wars. We all need to pump the brakes. It's still just a movie.
Well, I don't hate it because it didn't meet my expectations. I kind of like when something happens I'm not expecting, but I think they missed the mark on it. And I give it a 6 now.
We hate nerd soup.
We hate nerd soup.
Where's Game of Thrones? I can't believe Rey's a Targaryen. Who would have thought it?